Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make these really cool looking crochet bat bandanas. You can follow along on the video, or if you'd like the free written pattern, go to my website, tiffanybliss.com. And if you'd like to purchase one of these bandanas, you can find them on my online store, shoptiffanybliss.com. All right, without further ado, let's get started. For this project, you will need a solid color yarn, and this will be for the bandana body, a contrasting color yarn for the bats, borders, and the ties, a size H 5mm hook, yarn needle, and scissors. I am going to show you how to make both of these bandanas in this video. We're going to start with the lavender one, and that's only because the only difference between this one and this one is this decorative border. It's pretty much the edges that are different. The bats are going to be made the same way. The only difference with those is we're going to be sewing these on the edge, and for the orange one, we sew them into the center. We'll start with this one because you're going to need this information to make this one. This is super simple, super easy. This is a great beginner crochet project and perfect for Halloween. To start, we're going to make a loop. And we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. We're going to be working into this first chain space right here, and we're going to make 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to make 3 more half double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. In the first stitch, you're going to make 2 half double crochets. 1, 2, and then you're going to make 1 half double crochet in the remaining 2 stitches. 1, 2. In the chain space, you're going to make 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more half double crochets. Going back up the other side, you're going to make a half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then in the last stitch, you're going to place 2 half double crochets. Chain 1 and turn your work. Now as you go through this, every first stitch, you'll put 2 half double crochets. In every chain space, you'll place 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more half double crochets, a half double crochet in every stitch up the row, and then in the last stitch, you'll place 2 half double crochets. And you'll do this every time until the bandana is as big as you want. Most people like their bandanas to be around 15 to 17 inches measured from the top part, so the part that faces closest to your face. Okay, I finished making my rows, and it's at the length that I want. So I'm going to loop in the gray right here and just give this a little tie real quick. At this point, we're going to start making the ties. So if you didn't loop in another color, you would just go from here and start making a chain. And to make the chain, you're going to chain 65. Once you chain 65, you're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and you're just going to single crochet down the line until you get to the end. Once you get to the end, you're going to single crochet in the first stitch and then single crochet all the way down the line to give yourself a border. So I just realized it's not really clear in the video. When you're working on the tie, you're going to end up right here, and then you're going to start single crocheting down the side of your bandana. So once you've made your chain 65, you're going to be single crocheting down the tie, and then you're going to end up here. And what you're going to do is just start single crocheting down this part, the long part of your bandana. You'll go around up here, and then you'll start making another chain 65 for the second tie. You'll single crochet up the top, and then you'll single crochet up around the front border, and then you'll end up right here where you will fasten off and weave in your ends. When you get to the corner, you're going to put 2 single crochets, chain 2, and 2 more single crochets, just like you did before with the half double crochets, only this time you're putting single crochets inside that chain space. And then you just continue back up the side. Once you reach the end, we're going to chain 65 again to make the other tie. And then just like before, we're going to start single crocheting in the second chain from the hook and work our way back down the line. Once you've crocheted back up the line, we're just going to start crocheting across the top, just making a single crochet to give the top a border. Once you get to the end, your last single crochet, you can slip stitch into that first one, that first chain there, and then fasten off. And you're done with your bandana part. So now we have to put on the bats. Okay, now it's time to make these bats. Depending on how big you made your bandana, that will tell you how many bats you'll need. If you search my channel, you can find a standalone bat applique video, but I'm gonna go over it here with you again, in case you haven't seen that video. So, to make the bats, you're going to start by chaining 17. We're going to slip stitch into the second chain from the hook. Single crochet in the next 3 spaces, half double crochet in the next space, single crochet in the next space, half double crochet again, and now we're going to place a double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So double crochet in the first stitch, or the next stitch I should say, double crochet in the next stitch. Now we'll place another half double crochet in the next stitch, a single crochet in the next stitch, a half double crochet in the next stitch, and then we're going to place a single crochet in the next 4 stitches. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch, and then in the next stitch we're going to make our first point. That is this point right here. So we're going to make 5 points at the bottom total, because that's where we're working. We're working on the bottom. The 2 on each end, so 4 of them are made the same, but the center one is made just slightly differently. So we're going to start with the first one. We start by single crocheting in the stitch. In that same stitch, we're going to make a half double crochet and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, and then in that first chain we're going to make a single crochet. Then we're going to go back into that same space where we made the single crochet in the half double, and we're going to make another single crochet. And that completes your point. We're going to single crochet into the next 2 stitches. In the next stitch we're going to place a single crochet, half double crochet, same stitch, chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, and then single crochet into that first chain we made. Then go back down into that same chain and make another single crochet. We've got 2 points finished. Single crochet into the next space and single crochet into the next space. Now we're going to make our big point. And to make that, we're going to make a half double crochet into this stitch, a double crochet, and this time we're going to place the point at the end of this double crochet. So 1, 2, 3 chains, slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, single crochet into the first chain you made, and we're not going to go back into that chain again. We're going to go to the next one, and we're going to place a double crochet, and we're also going to put a half double in that same stitch, and that makes our big point at the bottom, the bat tail. Now we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then single crochet in the next stitch, half double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, single crochet into the first chain that we made, and go back into that same stitch and make a single crochet. Single crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then our last point goes in this stitch right here, so we're going to place a single crochet, half double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, single crochet into the first chain we made, and then single crochet back into that same chain space. Now we have this last little tiny stitch right here, and that's where we're going to slip stitch. So you're going to have to probably pull up that stitch somehow because it gets hidden. Once you slip stitch into this space right here, you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and you're going to slip stitch into the first chain you made. And now we're going to work across the top. We're going to slip stitch 2 together for the first stitch. So pull up a loop in the first stitch, pull up a loop in the second stitch, and pull through 2. Slip stitch into the next stitch, slip stitch 2 together again, 1, 2, pull through 2. Now we're going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches, and that brings us to our center. We're going to start making the bat ears now. So we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch, and we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, single crochet into the first chain we made, and now we're going to slip stitch back into that same space. In the next space, we're going to single crochet, and then we're going to slip stitch into the next space and make our second bat ear. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, single crochet into the first chain you made, and then slip stitch back down into that same chain space. Now working across the top, we're going to slip stitch into the next 2 spaces, slip stitch 2 together, slip stitch into the next space, and slip stitch 2 together again. We're going to slip stitch into that big space right there, and then to complete it, we're going to slip stitch into this section right here. I feel like it tidies up the edges once you weave in the ends. And there you go. That's how you make your bat. You're going to make a bunch of them. Then we will place them to line our bandana. Once you've made all of your bats, you're going to position them around your bandana to see where you want the placement. So at this point, you can either use yarn and a yarn needle to loosely place them where you want them. and then go in and sew them securely. Or you can use stitch markers and put them in place. And that's what I'm going to do because I kind of think it might be easier. You can also shape your bat. Do you want your bat's wings up high? I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the bat's wings kind of up high when I sew them on. I actually ended up putting only 3 on each side, and I think it's working out really well. And now we just start sewing them on. To sew them on, you're going to use your yarn needle and the same yarn that you use to make your bats. Starting at one corner, you're going to want to go around the perimeter of the bat and then down through the middle where it meets your bandana. That way it is securely attached. Super simple, super easy, and very time consuming, but I know it's going to be worth it in the end. So just start sewing. Once you've sewn on all your bats, that's it. Now you have a really cool Halloween bandana to wear. And I really like this color combination because it's subtle but cute. It says Halloween, but it's not really in your face, you know? It's just like, hey, I'm acknowledging the Halloween holiday, but, you know, I'm toning it down. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. For a more bold, in-your-face, hey guys, it's Halloween, let's celebrate look. You can make a bandana in really bold, wonderful Halloween colors like this bright orange and black. And then you can add black bats, not to the edge, but to the center. And that really screams Halloween and looks really, really festive. You can decide how you want to place them. Also, let me show you how I made this edge. Since you've made so many bats by now, you're going to be familiar with the process of making the edge, but I'll just walk you through it. For the orange bandana, we aren't going to make the ties yet. With the purple one, we started with the ties, but we're not doing that here. What we're going to do for this one is once you've made your bandana the size that you want, you're going to work in the contrasting color, the color that you want for your border. And then instead of chaining 65, you're going to single crochet down the edge of the border. And then once you reach this end, you're going to start making the design just like I'm about to show you. Just make single crochets around the border. So I'm going to start by putting a single crochet in the first stitch and then skipping the next 2 stitches, and we're going to put a double crochet, another double crochet, a third double crochet, and this time we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to slip stitch into that second chain right here. And then we're going to single crochet into the next chain. Then we're going to make 2 more double crochets in that same space. And then we're going to skip 2 stitches, single crochet, skip 2 stitches, and repeat the process again. And then you're just going to repeat that down the border of your bandana. When you reach the end, you're going to chain 65 and then single crochet back up the top and just continue single crocheting across the top border. When you reach the end, you're going to chain 65 again, single crochet down, and then meet back here where you're going to single crochet, slip stitch, and fasten off. It's very simple. All right, everyone, that's all for now. Please let me know what you think about these crochet bandanas in the comments down below. Remember, the free written pattern is on my website, tiffanybliss.com. And if you'd like to purchase one of these bandanas that I handmade, you can find them at shoptiffanybliss.com. That's all for now. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.